Good morning and good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. We're already calling garage, getting ready to start the show. Let's get into it. Hello.
I was on the site until 2 a.m. last night.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so I'm a little groggy, so I'm here.
Yeah, I just came back from the accountant, so my legs are dead because I spiked against the wind on the way there. But at least on my way back, I went as fast as I had the wind at my back.
You went as fast as what?
A motorcycle. I was going really fast. I was basically not even pedaling. I was just putting my arms out and letting the wind take me. That's how strong the wind was.
It's hard. I was trying to tell you, I was telling you how to live.
Well, actually, there was a study done recently found that Silicon Valley advances in technology have not increased stability of life like 10
No.
0%. Yeah.
We're absolutely slaves. Oh, let me do that, but I gotta wait for my phone to ring. I'll be 15 minutes before I answer that. I'll sit like an idiot forever. Old analog phone used to pick up and talk to me.
Yeah.
Now you can't do it.
Now you have to wait 10 minutes for the round.
Some people apologize for calling you on the phone.
Yeah. I'm sorry for calling you.
Landlines still exist?
Alright, let's start today with our headlines. Her first headline. It's half of what was shot at us. Kharkiv's Russian missile cemetery. Rows of munition debris lie at the heart of Ukrainian efforts to build criminal cases against Russian commanders.
And congressional hearings on TikTok. Talk about how time works.
My second headline. Dieselgate. Billions of extremely polluting cars still on Europe's roads. Says report.
In Memphis, as in other cities, car seizures are a lucrative and punishing police tactic. For time.
Rahul Gandhi found guilty of defaming Narendra Modi. Indian opposition leader accused of implying the prime minister was a criminal in a remark made in 2019.
Women's hope Sweet 16 next step to own March Madness TV deal. Those stories and more today on the 3/23/2023 edition of Or Coffee. Or did you want to say that?
Yeah, okay, intro done, let's get into it. My first story. During the first few months of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the cruise missiles fired by Moscow at its neighbors remained embedded for days at a time in buildings and streets of northeast province Kharkiv. Then, one by one, officials working for Ukrainian prosecutors recovered, registered, and cataloged them, or moving them to a fenced-off area in the industrial district of Kharkov city that has become known as the Missile Cemetery. More than 1,000 explosives and debris of rockets are lined up in rows, covering an area half the size of a football field. Ukrainian's army calculates that Russia has fired more than 5,000 countless artillery rockets, or began. A large number have fallen on Kharkiv. Local authorities say that one day the devices could become part of a museum to remember the atrocities of war. In the meantime, though, we hope the debris can provide information to help bring prosecutions against Russian authorities and soldiers. This place was created for collecting evidence of war crimes, says Mitro Benko, the spokesperson for the Kharkiv Region Prosecutor's Office. These devices are all found in Kharkiv City, but it is approximately only half of what they shot at us. These are pieces of evidence that we hope the National Criminal Court. Talking about how missiles were in the Kharkiv Missile Cemetery, prosecutors have stored some of the missiles that hit residential areas. Sotivka and Lex Russian general, whose name cannot be disclosed due to an ongoing investigation, allegedly gave an order to launch at least 100 missiles from Russian-occupied northern Ukraine into Kharkiv, Institute of Physics and Technology, a hotbed of early nuclear research, former Soviet Union. Yes, the destruction of technology, stuff like that. Here's one missile that was shot into a hospital. Just kidding. There's probably a missile that was shot at like an orphanage. Remember that happened like early days of the war? They bombed an orphanage. One's like, excuse me, what are orphans gonna do? They may become soldiers in the future. Get them now.
Now, war is stupid.
Authorities estimate that more than 1,700 people have been killed by Russian shelling, including 44 children in Kharkiv City and its surroundings. Nationwide, the Office of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights has reported 21,965 civilian casualties since the beginning of the Russian invasion, including 8,231 deaths. Though OHCHR has noted that the actual casualties are much higher due to the delay in receiving communications and hostilities. Reports are still pending collaboration. Mariupol, Lysychansk, Masna, and Kirby. That one's a hard one. Alright, yours.
It's a big bundle. Right, and then TikTok news. TikTok, as the saying goes, you don't tell time tells you. The Chinese-owned video apps, New York Times, Chinese-owned video app has become a battleground as U.S. and China import tech leadership. Story by Sapna Maheshwari. Su Chu, the chief executive of TikTok, testified before Congress for the first time with the appearance that is expected, but U.S. lawmakers skip. Hearing which will begin at 10 a.m. before the House Energy and Commerce Committee give lawmakers a rare opportunity to ask Mr. questions directly about TikTok's relationship with its Chinese-owned ByteDance, as well as about the app's handling of sensitive U.S. user data and the risk it may pose to teen children. TikTok is working to secure its future in the United States, one of the biggest markets, where it says it has 150 million users, where it has become a culture-making machine. Oh my! What a world! But lawmakers have questions about ByteDance, the links to Chinese governments, and whether those could put TikTok's user data into the hands of Beijing officials. U.S. intelligence, like the director FBI, Christopher Wray, have also warned the Chinese government TikTok's algorithm for influence on it. TikTok, which is initially hailed as China's first global internet success story, is going to represent a growing divide between the United States and China over tech leadership and national security. The app has become a battleground, technological cold war between two countries. U.S. threats at TikTok and recalling how China has long blocked many American platforms. All right. Continuing operation in the United States under ByteDance's ownership, TikTok has sought approval from a group of federal agencies for investment in the United States, or CFI-US, for a plan called Project Texas. That plan outlines how TikTok will prevent the Chinese government from U.S. data or meddling content recommendations with oversight from government-approved officials or the auditors. The plan has not been approved. Last week, it heard that the Biden administration TikTok ownership to sell the app or if it's possible ban. Amid the lack of resolution, more than 24 states, several colleges and Congress have enacted bans on TikTok in recent months. The White House also recently backed a bipartisan Senate bill that will give administration more power to deal with TikTok, including up to ban. During Thursday's hearing, Mr. Chu, a native of Singapore who continues to live in the country, may also be asked about ByteDance's surveillance of American journalists, which has been under investigation by the Justice Department. The company admitted in December that Chinese-based ByteDance employees retrieved sensitive data of U.S. TikTok users, including reporters, to find a leak. Tuesday, Mr. Chu posted a TikTok. Company's TikTok is the name of companies, and the things that they post are called TikTok. Okay. Nouns, adjectives, and verbs are everything all at once. On Tuesday, TikTok, which is a noun, verb, and an adjective, the company's main account, which has not 6.9 million followers. He called this moment pivotal and said TikTok could go away, but he would testify the app's efforts to protect America. Oh, big corporations protect Americans. I feel safe already.
They've always had us in mind to protect
Oh,
us.
yeah. What
Yeah.
would they be up to? I love the people. Are you getting a TikTok? You just hate Chinese. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Just like apps on your phone. You just don't care where they come from? Really?
Yeah.
Download anything then. You know, just give me your ATM code. And just, whatever. The chair of the House and Energy Committee is Representative Kathy Morris Rogers, a Republican of Washington. I don't know. I'm worried. That's the story. My point of view is I don't have TikTok. I'm interested in TikTok. I already get enough crap on my phone as it is. If I want to watch meaningless videos, I can do that on YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, I
need
use
TikTok.
TikTok mostly to try to spread my social media, whatever.
I would do it, but
I also think the TikTok editor, like video editor, is way better than. So YouTube needs to step up, and then I'll stop using TikTok because I just like the video editor on TikTok better. So that's what I use to edit all my shorts.
the crack dealer down the street has that pure crack. This guy here, he's cutting them with biggies.
Yeah.
Blow me. I'm going down to the pure crack. When I get hooked on that crack, it's going to be pure. Right.
All right. Dieselgate. 13 million diesel cars producing extreme levels of toxic air pollution are still on the road in Europe and the UK, according to a report 7 years after the Dieselgate scandal first exploded.
Microphone on.
Yeah?
Show's too good to not be recorded. Anyway, go ahead.
My microphone's on. A non-profit research group, the International Council on Clean Transportation, ICCT, revealed in 2015 that many diesel cars were highly polluting, emitting far more nitrogen oxides on the road than in official testing. The scandal led to a more rigorous test being introduced in 2019. However, based on extensive testing evidence, ICCT has now revealed about 13 million highly polluting vehicles sold from 2009 to 2019 remain on the roads. Further, 6 million diesels have suspicious levels of emissions, the ICCT. Cars span 200 different models produced by all the major manufacturers. ICCT said the best-selling models from 2009 to 2019, the EU27 and UK with extreme emissions are Euro 5 versions of the Volkswagen Passat, the Tiguan Renault Clio, and the Ford Focus and Nissan Qashqai? That's not Japanese. I'm supposed to say that. Nissan is a Japanese company, but their models are not Japanese. The Volkswagen Passat. Okay, well, keep that in mind. Let's see. Air pollution continues to be the biggest environmental health hazard in Europe, according to the European Environmental. Nitrogen dioxide emissions, largely produced by diesel vehicles, have been estimated to result in 64,000 early deaths every year. Over 7 years have passed since the Dieselgate scandal first broke, said Michael Myers. Michelle Meyer at the ICCT. Yet due to limited corrective action, these vehicles continue to operate across Europe today, harming the health of all who are exposed to the air pollution these emissions create. These articles are very long on The Guardian. I mean, one great thing about NOS is that they have short articles. This one's like, dude, we're gonna give you your reading's worth. Okay?
A lot of stuff.
UK and EU law mandates that governments must investigate cases of potential defeat devices and require manufacturers to take corrective actions if a prohibited feet device is found. EJEU ruling from 2020 still applies in the UK as routine EU law, ICC said. Some emissions-related recalls have been reported in the UK, France, and Germany, said Neild, but publicly available information suggests these could cover only a fraction of the millions of excessively polluting vehicles that remain on the road. In many cases, auto manufacturers in Europe have not been punished or held accountable to deliver effective solutions, scientists said. Instead, individual consumers have been left to seek financial compensation, class action lawsuits. In contrast, in the US, Volkswagen was forced to buy back vehicles and offer effective emission fixes and also paid almost $3 billion, €0.45 billion, into a fund to help US state cut pollution from road transport. Planet Earth called for a similar cleanup fund to be created in Europe. If only Europe was one country. Unfortunately, it isn't. So you have to have a bunch of countries agree. Hey, yeah, okay, let's fine all the auto manufacturers. Abuse of the system is not acceptable, and since 2016, we have massively increased oversight of emission tests and established a specialized unit to test vehicles in the real world, as well as in labs, investigate suspicious practice, and are looking to bring forward stronger powers. Okay, so there you go. Air pollution's bad. Diesel is bad. I think we might have a Clio, but I don't know if it's this model. Might be I don't know if you heard, but the five big models that are transmitting the most extreme emissions are the Volkswagen Passat, Renault Clio, which I'm pretty sure we have a Renault Clio. I'm gonna have to talk to Han later and be like, hey, you're killing the planet! You by yourself with your one car!
Oh yeah, make her feel guilty, babe.
Yeah. The Volkswagen Tiguan, the Ford Focus, and the Nissan Qashqai? I don't know. Qashqai. Anyways, on to your next story.
Another car news. You have a car and you don't want it taken by this police car. Don't drive through Tennessee. Memphis car seat. This is another special story by Jessica Jake Lloyd, Mike Baker, Mike Baker, Lois. I'm really okay. In Memphis, this is from New York Times. Memphis car seizures are a lucrative and punishing tactic. As he drove to work on a summer afternoon in Memphis last year, Ralph Jones saw a woman on the sidewalk flagging him down. Thinking she was stressed and needed a ride, Mr. Jones said he pulled over. After a brief conversation in which he tried to lure him to a nearby hotel, Mr. Jones said he drove away but was soon stopped by the police and yanked from his truck. The 70-year-old welder said he was just 86 cents in his pocket, had neither the intent nor the money to solicit prostitutes, as officers were claiming. As for no avail, Mr. Jones was cited. His truck, along with his expensive tools inside, were seized. Charges were eventually dropped, but the truck and his work equipment remained corralled in the city impound lot for 6 weeks. The prosecutors finally agreed to return it in exchange for a $750 payment. It's nothing but a racket, Mr. Jones said.
Yep.
Oh, that's what it is. It's been that way for you. Police departments around the country have long used asset forfeiture laws to seize property believed to be associated with criminal activity. An tactic intended to bribe lawmakers of ill-gotten gains, deter future crimes, and along the way, provide a lucrative revenue source for police departments. Because we have a constitution which says you have rights, but you really don't.
There's something really wrong about making your police department a profit-based business. That's the problem
it's
here.
Yeah, and the profits don't necessarily get distributed. They'll just keep it close. But it became a favored law enforcement tactic in Memphis, where an elite street crime unit involved in the death of Irene Nichols on January 7th, or the Little Scorpion unit, was among the several law enforcement teams in the city making widespread use of vehicle seizures. Like Mr. Jones, some of the people affected by the seizures had not been convicted of any crime. Defense lawyers said they disproportionately affected low-income residents and people of color. Shocking. People with no money paying the most. Wow. Over the past decade, a civil rights activist in several states have successfully pushed to make it harder for police to seize property, but Tennessee, avoid Tennessee. But Tennessee continues to have some of the most aggressive seizure laws in the country. Did I say avoid Tennessee?
Yes.
Well, some states now require a criminal conviction before. Don't spend your money in Tennessee. Tennessee process can be civil process and properties. Tennessee is outlawing everything. A less rigorous burden of proof. Tennessee allows local law enforcement agencies to keep the bulk of the proceeds of the assets they see. But the local government's lagging because they don't have to pay taxes because they're just taking money from strangers.
Yeah.
And the process for getting property back in the state can be derivative. Those that have little money and ability to hire a lawyer. Those who fail to claim a post must post a $350 bond within 30 days or automatically forfeit the property. Tennessee's forfeiture laws are among the nation's worst, says Lisa Nepper, a senior director of strategic research, Institute for Justice, and a nonprofit law firm that has called for changes in state forfeiture laws. In Memphis, where some of the more than 700 vehicles seized last year were taken from people who were ultimately found guilty of serious crimes. But other residents reported in areas that were compelled to pay large fees to cover their vehicle even when they had not been convicted of a crime. In 2021, Memphis Police Chief Sarah Lynn Davis came forward with the city's plan to combat growing incidents of reckless driving and drag racing and vehicle seizure. This happened at around the same time the city was launching its Scorpion unit, which has already been the infamous Scorpion unit. No longer would police officers be merely issuing citations to reckless drivers who endanger others, she said, seeming to all acknowledge that such seizures might not ultimately stand up in court. When we identify individuals that are reckless driving to the point that they took over their lives today, you want to take the car too. Take the car, even if the case gets dropped in court. We witnessed it, you did it. You might be inconvenienced for 3 days without your car. That's enough.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Take your property for an accusation. Mayor Jim Strickland was also a strong supporter of a seizure policy. Should have a seizure. And even proposed that destroying cars
That was a joke,
used
guys. That was a joke. He's not threatening the mayor.
not threatening. I said he should have a seizure. It's not a threat. It's a wish. I don't care if they serve a day in jail. Let me get their cars, and then once a month we'll line them all up, maybe at the old fairgrounds, Liberty Park, and just smash them. Yeah, take people's cars, smash them. Who cares about the law? Who cares about the Constitution?
Who cares about
We're
due
getting
process?
property smashed. We're destroying perfectly good vehicles for no reason. Yay! Police officers said it was a suspicion of reckless driving that they first pulled over Mr. Nichols, a 29-year-old black man who died after a long, brutal beating by the Scorpion. Yeah, I'm sure his car's doing fine, huh?
Yeah.
Scorpion unit was touted for its record of seizing drugs, cash, and cars. Just a few months of operation, the city reported that elite unit of seizing 270 vehicles. Ooh, what? We got numbers. We have numbers. So we want numbers like 270 vehicles. We're so great. 270 vehicles. I was like, what is that? Divided by 3. 9 a day. 90 a day. 9 a day. 9 a day per month. Many of the vehicles seizures have revolved around drugs. Note, and again, drugs that burn.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hey, are those pain pills? That's a drug. Give us your car.
Got children's aspirin. That's a drug. In those instances, according to several defense lawyers, the agency often seized the vehicle based on a claim that was being used as a drug dealing operation. A common basis for such seizures in major cities intended to deprive drug dealers of their profits and their work. Want to get rid of drug dealers? Get rid of the banks that launder the money. You will not have drug dealers. Really? What are they going to do with their money?
Well, the other thing is,
taxes?
in this particular case, they're punishing somebody for something they haven't been charged with, right?
No.
Like they haven't been found
Incidentally,
guilty
have
of.
a joint.
Hey, you might have done something illegal, but we're gonna punish you early. You know, we're gonna take your stuff first.
Sean Douglas Jr. lost his car in a fall after being stopped at a Memphis gas station by officers reported finding two clear baggies containing marijuana inside a backpack. Mr. Douglas was soon in handcuffs, arrested on suspicion of a felony drug infraction, an allegation he denied. His car was sent to impound. In an interview, Mr. Douglas said of the arresting officers commented to him about his 2015 Dodge Charger. He said, "That would make a great police vehicle. When we take those vehicles, we hope people don't come back to get them so we can do drug bust out of them." Months later, Mr. Douglas' criminal charges had been dropped, but his car was still in custody. He was only able to recover to pay $925 for the show. Bruce towed it out to a dusty lot and handed over to him its battery dead. Mr. Douglas had to struggle with battery cables to get it started. It costs a lot of money, puts you back on everything, and creates more stress. You can't pay bills, you can't do anything. Either the police department or district attorney office has responded to questions about the forfeiture cases of Mr. Douglas and another interview for a cycle article, and the police chief only briefly addressed the city's forfeiture policy. In Memphis, as in many other cities, revenues from such impound and forfeiture fees are returned to support policing activities, becoming a regular source of revenue. Memphis has not disclosed how much money it gets generated for the hundreds of vehicles that were forfeited. The city did report seizing some $1.7 million of cash last year, winning forfeiture of nearly $1.3 million. The income is most often being generated from the city's poorest residents, defense lawyers said. It's unfair to a lot of poorer citizens of Memphis. It's a huge tax. Vehicle seizures have never been a priority in the city's overall crime fighting strategy, Chief Davis said in a brief interview, adding that money gained from forfeitures was not essential to its operations. So, I don't know, stop making the money if it's not.
Yeah, exactly.
It ain't your money. Just because you think it's illegal doesn't mean it's illegal. Of course, what they're making money in is these impound fees.
All right, let's go on to my next story.
Right on.
Police are scumbags. Surprise! What I have to say, you know? Like I said, you shouldn't have a service, community service, making income. Should not be making profits, right?
Yeah, but they're not making profits. What they're doing is they're lowering the tax burden on rich people.
Okay, I see. Because they're already stealing a lot of poor people's money,
right.
but they can't even pay taxes.
Well, and of course, you gotta miss work. Your job, your boss is like, "You're always missing work." Like, no, I'm not always missing work. Some jackass pulled me over, and now I gotta get my car. And I wasn't even breaking the law, and this jerk off pounded my car. Now I gotta get back and pay like a week's wages. What do you think of that? Oh, you're fired. Okay. I don't need a car anymore then. Bye.
Solve that problem.
Yeah.
All right.
Again, it's an endless loop of law enforcement being dicks and bosses being.
Capitalism.
This is life. This is life.
All right. Update on the I think yesterday we talked about some India stuff, so I'm going to talk about some India stuff some more.
Okay.
Here we have Rahul Gandhi found guilty of defaming Narendra Modi, who is the Prime Minister of India. Oh no, I have to register to keep. I'll do. A court in India has found the opposition leader Rahul Gandhi guilty of defamation for a remark implying the country's Prime Minister Narendra Modi was a criminal. On Thursday, Gandhi, 52, was sentenced to 2 years in prison, but was granted bail after his lawyers announced their intention to appeal. The case stemmed from a remark made during the 2019 election campaign in which Gandhi, the leading face of the Congress Party, had asked why all the thieves have Modi as their common surname, saying that people with the last names Modi are all thieves. Modi's government has been widely accusing the law to target and silence critics, and in the case in his home state of Gujarat, it's one of the several lodged against Gandhi in recent years. Members of the government said the remark was also a smear against all those people whose surnames are Modi, which is associated with the lower rungs of India's traditional caste hierarchy. So, hey, you're a lower caste member, so you're probably a scumbag. Wow. Now, it's hard to kill a caste system that's banned in India. If you're going to incite the entire Modi surname, this is completely defamatory. Ravi Shankar Prasad, a lawmaker from the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, told reporters. There was a proper hearing. He got an opportunity to present his side of the things. The decision has been taken according to due judicial process. Gandhi's lawyers, BM Mukia said his client had not meant to insult anyone. When the magistrate said the magistrate asked Gandhi what he had to say in his defense, Congress leader said he was fighting to expose corruption in the country. Mangukia told reports outside the court his comments were not meant to hurt or insult any community. Gandhi is the son, grandson, and great-grandson of a dynasty of former Indian prime ministers, beginning with independence leader Jawaharlal Nehru. But he has struggled to challenge the electoral juggernaut of Modi and his national appeal to the country's Hindu majority. Gandhi was greeted by supporters when he arrived at court for the verdict on Thursday. He faces at least 2 other defamation cases elsewhere in the country. He is also on bail in a long-running money laundering case. Denies any financial impropriety. Okay, so this guy has his hands in a lot of red hands, but the other guy is the corrupt politician. I mean, let's be honest, it's India. That's all I gotta say. That's not racist, it's just factual.
It's
India. That's all I
Your
gotta
shit
say.
together, India. God.
It's not their
New
fault,
York.
okay? They were colonized by the UK, who's already also
Yeah,
pretty
it's
corrupt.
never anyone's fault. Everybody's got this. Your shit together, India. All right, man. Women's basketball hoping to get a better contract. College basketball believes it has the makings for a reality TV show with a star power driving marketable product that is growing audience. So they're taking some on the road for the Sweet 16. The NCAA changed the format of the tournament this year. Regional sites instead of traditional 4. The games in Greenville, South Carolina, and Seattle over the last are the latest step to grow the sport and show the ladies can stand on their own. South Carolina coach Dawn Staley believes the question of whether women's artists March Madness contract has already been answered, even though the women's tournament loses money under the current deal. Somebody's watching women's basketball. Somebody feels like we're in high demand, and obviously the decision makers that put us down realize that they've got to keep putting us on. Honestly, we're saying lying to them.
Yeah.
the women's title game, maybe she needs a rephrase her word. The women's title game will be broadcast on ABC. The first appearance on network television is 1995. Women's basketball is part of current contract that bundles all NCAA championships except for men's basketball. The NCAA expected to decide by the fall if the women's tournament will be a separate entity, hiring Endeavor, a consulting firm, to determine how to take the championship market. Well, the first thing they got to do is not have it during men's tournament. I don't know why they think that's a good idea. I know people are watching 27 games. Let's give them 127 games. Oh, show them next week's. They used to have it at a different time. Why are they having it at the same time?
Yeah.
People don't have that much time to watch so many games. TV ratings have been trending up over the last 2 years. This year's regular season was the most viewed on ESPN's networks in 8 years. It was up from 11% from last season. That came on the heels of last season's title game between South Carolina. It averaged 4.85 million viewers, the most for a women's championship in 2007. First round had 27% ratings last year. People enjoying watching close games, like the fact there's some sinless uncertainty when Coach Mariama said, there's been so many changes in the top 10 all year long. Teams are in, they start at the top, they go and they come back. I think it all creates a level of excitement. People are just tuning in during March Madness. They've also been showing up. And it's that people aren't just tuning in. They've also been showing up. Attendance at the NCAA tournament has continued to rise. The past 5 seasons, growing by 60% in the first 2 rounds from last year, an average of 4,464, 7,240 here. The season had the highest attendance ever from rounds. Makes us very bullish on women's basketball. The demonstrators of the growth we've been seeing in the sport. Now the NCAA hopes the growth was reflected in increased television revenue. ESPN pays $34 million per year for the championship package, which it agreed to do in 2011, including basketball. Law firm the NCAA hired to investigate the equity issues in 2021 said its report that it estimated the women's basketball annual broadcast rights will be 81 million to 112 million. The NCAA said the 2019 women's tournament lost 20.18 million. Those losses have multiplied the last 2 years since the sports governing body increased spending after disparities between men's and women's earnings were up. Okay, now they're leaving out one simple fact. Between 2019 and 2020, a pandemic happened. And there was no tournament that
People were exactly like, oh boy, I better go outside and hang out in a room with a bunch of
There was no tournament. They canceled all.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything was canceled. Yeah, so what do you worry about it's recovering from the pandemic. People forget that pandemic happened. That includes my
it's
boss.
still actually technically still happening.
Well, it's
not like
until March 1st it was officially a pandemic. So anything before that where people are insisting that I go meet with people in person, I'm like, it's a pandemic. Stop making me meet with people. Can't do that. The NCAA can get close to the numbers projected in the 2020 report. It might be a law for revenue shares. Notice find out too. So women's teams in the tournament and sports are similar to what they can receive from the first madness. So men's team distributes their TV revenue.
Yeah. Like the top 16?
March Madness. Women's is just under one catch-all NCAA. Which says, we're going to show your stuff and be glad we're doing it.
You should be grateful we even want to look at you.
This is a known fact. What's the most popular sport in the world?
Soccer?
Okay. In the United States, they have a league called Major League Soccer.
Hmm?
They have a huge, expensive, massive TV deal. You know their ratings are less than half of the WNBA.
Yeah.
Less than half of the WNBA, which gets
because
constantly.
the male league sucks ass.
Soccer, watching soccer is watching paint dry. You can tell me it's not. I cannot get excited about it.
I never watch it. I only played it.
Yeah, exactly. Watching 5-year-olds play soccer is a hell of a lot more than watching professional. Bunch of guys faking injuries, never scoring. A 1-0 score holds up for the whole damn game. What the hell is that? Boring. Soccer. That's my editorial. So yeah, basketball has constant scoring, constant action, constant athletic ability, and without all the people going, oh no, somebody breathed on me, I need a penalty. Throw a red card on him, he breathed on me.
I mean, it's really interesting because they are right. A lot of these games, especially in the second round, were really right, like 870.
Oh yeah, and for the first time you have
48, 53. Some of these weren't close, like 42. They gave up.
We've already had 2 #1 seeds bounce.
Yeah, but like North Carolina versus Ohio State, that was 69 and 71. Like that's a really close.
Any game that's been 5 points. Because of 3-pointers.
All right, in cultural news, they're an endurance test. Will Taylor Swift begin the era of 3-hour concerts? With cash-strapped fans eager for an epic set list, Swift isn't the only artist doing extra long gigs, but performers and fans alike will need to toughen up. Okay, so they started with Taylor Swift giving all the credit for this, but then they're like, not really. Get ready to double the babysitter shift. Pop concerts are getting longer. Taylor Swift's current Eras tour of the U.S. finds American superstars singing and playing for more than 3 hours every night. Not the only one. Veteran British goth giants The Cure, already fond of long gigs, performed 88 songs over 3 hours. Over 88 songs! Over 3 hours, over 3 nights at Wembley Arena last December, averaging just under 3 hours every show. Other acts putting in usually long stints on stage lately include K-pop stars Atzy, 2.5 hours, Aussie psych rockers King Gizzard, The Lizard Wizard, and The Lizard Wizard? Oh, King Gizzard and The Lizard Wizard. That sounds like somebody would make you sit there for like 5 hours. Who will play a 3-hour marathon at Los Angeles Hollywood Bowl in June. Likely shows aren't new. The Grateful Dead played 5-hour sets in the 1970s. Bruce Springsteen's live epics are legendary. The longest in Helsinki in 2012 lasted 4 hours and 6 minutes. Boss's current tour, arriving in the UK later this year, averaging just under 3 hours, but newer artists have also shifted to longer shows to showcase increasingly hard back catalogs. I think also, to be fair, those shows, because everyone uses things like Ticketmaster, right? They'll try to sell their concerts for like $50. Ticketmaster will go, wait a minute, but I want to make $1 million off of this sale. I'm gonna add a bunch of fees, so the people who will buy the concert ticket still have to pay $100 to buy the ticket. I'm gonna add a bunch of fees on top. So
As another name for capitalism is ripping people off.
exactly. But I think it really sucks that people have to use a third party and just, hey Taylor, give me a ticket. It's like, no, sorry, you have to use Ticketmaster, and then you have to agree with their rules, and then they have to charge you too much money. Sorry.
Yep. They should go back to the old days. You want to go to the concert, line up at damn overnight. Right. Line up overnight, get hypothermia, like a real rock and roll fan. Not this. Well, again, this is just all part of music dying, as we pretty soon we just have some stupid AI crap generated every morning and go, this is the top music of the day, enjoy it. Get back to work, you slave.
All right. Another aspect for value is the money. With controversy over rocketing ticket prices, like I just said, amid a cost of living crisis, there seems to be a collective recognition of a need for lots of bang or band for your buck. I go to a lot of shows, and seeing a larger one feels more worth the money, says Charlotte Geese, a 20-year-old Chicago-based compliance analyst who watched Swift's Era Tour last week in Glendale, Arizona. I flew from Chicago. I paid $144 for my ticket and parking, and wouldn't change a thing. I got 3 hours plus of Taylor Swift and a great set of opening acts. Supports in Glendale were Gale and Paramore, along with Beta Doobie, Phoebe Bridges, Girl in Red, Muna, Haim, Gracie Abrams, and Owen are being rotated as Swift's opening acts. You know what? I'll be honest. I would go to a Taylor Swift concert just to see Paramore because their tickets are also very expensive. So, like, I can see Taylor Swift and Paramore. I'll pay €100 for that. Hell yeah. Thankfully, shows go against prevailing wisdom that the internet has lessened our attention span. No, the difference between TikTok and YouTube is that you're sitting in your chair. You're doing nothing. A concert is like atmospheric and dancing and meeting new people. That's totally different from
yeah.
Next.
No,
Totally
no.
different.
Here's what a concert is now. It's people pointing their phone at the stage
Oh, right, of course, yeah.
and watching their phone.
Well, some people can see the stage better if you zoom in with your phone and then look through it.
Yeah,
Right?
really enjoy a concert experience of watching a 4-inch screen.
Even for the hardcore, such marathons aren't for the faint-hearted. They're definitely a mental and physical endurance test, Keith admits. I drifted off a bit myself at around 2-hour mark, but I needed a sit break. Despite his own band's epic shows, Gizzard Man Mackenzie says that he goes to gigs himself. 89 minutes is plenty. 60 minutes, I'm already thinking about other stuff, but I guess our fans have got longer attention spans than me. For the artists themselves, long shows are creatively as well as physically demanding. No performer wants the fans nodding off. We're still trying to learn how to construct longer shows. At the moment, we're averaging 2 hours every night, but I'd like to stretch it further if our fans will put up with it and our bodies will handle it.
Hire a backup drummer.
Exactly. Perhaps tours such as Swift's will drive demand for longer sets and maybe even trigger a set list arms race as artists battle to play longer than each other. Drake has alluded to an Eras-type career for retrospective with artwork for his forthcoming summer tour, while Beyonce certainly has enough material to make this summer's world tour set list even longer than a 32-song outing in 2018. He hopes so. My Beyonce ticket costs $50 more than a Taylor Swift concert for a similar set, so I'm hoping for a marathon. Right.
Myself, I'm against it. I'm against longer concerts. I'd rather go to a festival and see many bands. I don't want to see one band. I know 10 of their songs, and the rest of them are kind of average or whatever. They continue to play forever and ever and ever when they only got 10 songs. I'm sure Taylor's, but big bands do. But like I'm saying, even the best bands, I'm 10 songs and I'm out. Man, come on, you ain't got that many good songs, really. Everybody just repeats the same thing. Anyway, this day in history. I'm sorry, that was my 2 cents. This day in history, Patrick Henry, give me liberty and give me death, which apparently he's dead now, so liberty no. But in 1775 it did. 1775. This is the day when Patrick Henry uttered those words in St. John's, at the Second Virginia Convention at St. John's Church, Richmond, of course. Virginia, claiming to favor liberty, was a slave-owning state. Also today, American inventor Elijah Otis installed the first commercial elevator in a department store in New York City in the year 1857. Happy birthday to going up and down. German mathematician Emily Noether, whose innovations in higher algebra made her most creative abstract algebras of modern times, was born in 1882. Thank you for confusing us all. American actress Joan Crawford, who made an initial impact as a vivacious jazz age flapper, was matured into a star of psychological melodramas. Joan Crawford, also known as, she was born in this state in 1908, also known as Mommy Dearest. Ever watch that movie?
I think
Your
so,
mom
yeah.
was crazy. Joan Crawford was a crazy, crazy mom. 1910, Japanese director Kurosawa Hira, who won worldwide acclaim with subtle, brilliantly composed films such as Rashomon that combined Japanese historic themes with Western sense of action and drama, was born this day. This day, 1933, the German Reichstag, dominated by Nazi Party and German National Party, voted to pass the Enabling Act, thereby assuring Nazi primacy in a promise that began Reichstag fire about a month prior. Nazi playbook: create an incident, pretend that somebody else did it, take away their rights, and seize power.
Yep.
The International Covenant, that was in 1933, folks. 90 years today, Hitler becomes the man of Germany, and everybody's like, yes, finally, Germany's going to be everything for everybody. Yay! International, no, I don't think that really happened, except for International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights entered into force, incorporating almost all international human rights proclamation, Universal Declaration of Human Rights of 1948. Well, this didn't happen until 1976. There's a little bit of a lag. 1983, Ronald Reagan introduced his Strategic Defense Initiative, was pure fantasy, also known as Star Wars, which basically never worked and never had a chance at working, but yeah, whatever, it was a fantasy. 1996, Lee Teng-hu won Taiwan's first direct presidential election. During his time in office, Lee worked to decriminalize Taiwan's political system. 1998, James Cameron won Best Director, Best Actor, or Best Picture for Titanic. 1977, winning 11 Academy Awards, tying the record, which might have been broken this year. Was it broken? Right, man, that's your time. Oh, and this day in 1806, 217 years ago today, Lewis and Clark began their expedition where they eventually reached the Pacific Ocean.
Found the other side.
I'm sorry. They ended their journey.
Oh, they found the other side today.
They began their return to St. Louis. Oh, wait, okay, 1806. I seem kind of late. I thought it was 1803. 1806, they began their trip back, which had begun in St. Louis. Go ahead.
Okay. Well,
I guess
that's
it.
Allison here from the Netherlands. We had a really extra long show today to make up for yesterday's really short show, I guess. So, hope to see you tomorrow for some end of the week news. See if anything happens on Friday, like, I don't know, another bank collapse or something.
Or just more misdirected old man anger.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's been me, and I'll see you next time. Want to end it there?
Oh, you can end it.
No, you have to say it.
Oh, Oh, the March 23rd, 2023. So many 2s and 3s in this date, but it's all 2s and 3s. Happy 2s and 3s days, everybody. And before coffee.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.